What began as a dream deal with Netflix, a $100 million partnership meant to redefine royal storytelling, has spiraled into a PR nightmare. Meghan Markle's alleged demands for complete creative control have leaked, and they're not just raising eyebrows in Hollywood, they're setting the internet on fire. Executives are reportedly furious, staff have quit, and even Prince Harry, her closest ally, was allegedly left stunned, learning about the chaos from headlines like the rest of us. It was supposed to be a bold new chapter. Instead, it's unraveling into one of the messiest celebrity brand implosions in recent memory. Because when royalty meets reality TV, and when one woman tries to micromanage a global media empire, something has to give. What began as a creative collaboration quickly spiraled into what insiders are calling one of the most aggressive power grabs in recent Hollywood memory. Meghan Markle didn't just want input on her Netflix series, she allegedly demanded complete control. According to leaked reports, her expectations went far beyond typical celebrity involvement. Sources claim she asked for final approval on nearly every frame of the project, from camera angles and lighting setups to music selection and trailer voiceovers. One former staffer even alleged she wanted to pre-screen background music to ensure it matched her emotional tone. That's not production oversight, that's full-scale image curation. And it didn't stop there. The leaked emails reportedly outlined Meghan's desire for veto power over who could appear on camera, how press coverage would be handled, and which media outlets would be allowed to cover the series. Former Netflix insiders described the communication not as feedback, but as directives. Some staff reportedly referred to the documents as command lists, detailing exactly how the streaming giant was expected to behave in order to preserve the Archwell brand. One source called it a blueprint for total brand domination, adding that Meghan seemed more interested in legacy building than authentic storytelling. What stunned Netflix execs even more was the insistence that all press releases, interview requests, and promotional materials be funneled through Meghan's team first. No exceptions. This wasn't normal practice, even for high-profile projects. According to insiders, Meghan wanted control over thumbnails, episode titles, and even background images used for advertising. She allegedly expected a kind of brand obedience that left industry veterans baffled. It wasn't a partnership, one source said bluntly. It was a monarchy. And that's when people inside Netflix started asking the uncomfortable question. Was this about telling their story or rewriting her image from scratch? Because when a streaming platform known for bold content is being told to play by palace rules, it creates friction, serious friction. And behind the scenes, that friction was already beginning to turn into something much more dangerous: distrust. Behind the curated images and tightly controlled press releases, a very different story was playing out behind closed doors. While Meghan was allegedly crafting a meticulous brand strategy, her internal team was quietly falling apart. According to multiple credible sources, 4 to 6 key staffers exited during the early phases of the Netflix production. And this wasn't a peaceful parting. Insider accounts described the workplace atmosphere as tense, controlling, and unsustainable. One former employee said the energy shifted the moment negotiations began. What had started as a creative dream quickly became a logistical nightmare. Many of the staff reportedly found themselves caught in the middle, torn between Meghan's vision of perfection and Netflix's reality of production deadlines. And as the demands intensified, so did the burnout. Some employees described being pressured to work around the clock, managing not just project timelines but also the couple's public image. The pressure to sanitize and reshape everything, from collaborators to past footage, became relentless. As one insider put it, "We weren't just making a show, we were managing a brand war." The expectations, according to reports, bordered on obsessive. One staff member claimed they were ordered to remove any creative partner who didn't align with Meghan's public values, even if that meant derailing an episode or replacing talent midstream. Another recalled working late nights combing through content, scrubbing potential red flags, things that might be misinterpreted, taken out of context, or used against the couple in future backlash. These weren't minor edits. They were full-scale narrative audits meant to future-proof Meghan's public image. By the time the series was greenlit, the original team was fractured, morale was low, and trust had eroded. Half the people who'd started on the project were gone, disillusioned, drained, or simply unwilling to keep up with the level of control being exercised. And that kind of turnover doesn't happen by accident. It's a symptom, a red flag. And for Netflix executives, it was the first clear sign that this wasn't going to be just another celebrity docuseries. This was going to be a crisis in the making. This is the twist no one saw coming, and reportedly, neither did Prince Harry. According to multiple palace sources, Harry was completely blindsided by the fallout. While Meghan was allegedly sending directives and outlining brand demands to Netflix, Harry believed they were still in the early stages of negotiation. One insider claimed he had no knowledge of the tone or scope of her communications and was caught completely off guard when the headlines broke. For someone who has always been fiercely protective of his image, and even more so of Meghan's, the betrayal wasn't just public, it was deeply personal. Insiders describe Harry's reaction as shocked and furious, not only at the media's portrayal, but at the fact that he was left in the dark by his own partner. This wasn't just a project, it was the crown jewel of their post-royal brand. A $100 million production meant to tell their truth, their way. But with Meghan allegedly taking the reins without Harry's full knowledge, what was supposed to be a joint narrative suddenly looked like a one-woman operation gone rogue. The consequences weren't just external, they struck at the heart of their internal dynamic. In the days that followed, Harry reportedly scrambled to contain the damage. Sources say he personally reached out to Netflix executives, hoping to reframe the narrative and mend relationships that were rapidly deteriorating. But by then, it was too late. The headlines were everywhere. Gossip sites were dissecting Meghan's alleged diva demands. Social media was flooded with memes, and the image of a united modern couple breaking barriers was being replaced with whispers of control, miscommunication, and a fractured front. What made it worse? Meghan's name was the one dominating the coverage, and not for the reasons they had hoped. Instead of being praised for visionary leadership, she was being criticized for overreach, arrogance, and alleged manipulation. And Harry, once the sympathetic prince who walked away from tradition for love, was now seen as either complicit or completely unaware. Neither option looked good, and as the dust settled, one question loomed large. If Harry wasn't part of the biggest moves behind the scenes, how much control does he really have over the empire they're trying to build? Behind the scenes, while Meghan was allegedly issuing instructions and setting strict terms, Netflix was reaching a boiling point. At first, executives reportedly gave her the benefit of the doubt, assuming her involvement would bring clarity and vision to the project. But that illusion didn't last long. As the demands kept piling up, more approvals, more restrictions, more control, patience inside the streamer started to wear thin. Multiple industry insiders now say that what should have been a collaborative effort quickly turned into what one exec called a masterclass in overreach. Another source described the process as paralyzing, with creative teams stuck in limbo, waiting for feedback, reshooting scenes, or scrapping plans entirely based on last-minute changes from Meghan's camp. What was supposed to be a streamlined docuseries became, in the words of one producer, a nightmare. Delays became routine, tensions rose. And with Netflix operating on tight schedules and even tighter budgets, the production began to lose momentum fast. Internally, questions started swirling. Was this even worth it anymore? Then came the quote that changed everything. Leaked by a Netflix insider and widely shared across media outlets, one line summed up the company's growing frustration. "We're a content platform, not a palace. We don't bow to anyone." The statement was anonymous, but it hit with the weight of a declaration. For many, it was the clearest sign yet that the power dynamics behind this high-stakes partnership had officially broken down. The cracks were no longer whispers behind closed doors. They were headlines. And that shift wasn't just symbolic. It was strategic. With public perception turning and internal tensions mounting, Netflix reportedly began doing something unthinkable just months earlier, quietly reviewing their exit strategy. Multiple sources close to the platform claim that top-level meetings were held to evaluate how and when they could walk away from the deal. And not just delay it, not renegotiate, cancel it, cold. For a company that had once touted the partnership as a crown jewel of its content slate, The fact that they were even considering a total pullout signaled just how toxic and risky the situation had become. Netflix may have been the first to raise alarms, but they definitely weren't the last. Once the leaks started spreading and Meghan Markle's alleged behind-the-scenes behavior became public, the ripple effect throughout Hollywood was immediate and undeniable. According to multiple entertainment insiders, scheduled meetings with producers were quietly postponed, development deals stalled, and some partnerships that were previously greenlit suddenly went cold. And this wasn't about the quality of the content. It was about the chaos surrounding it. Meghan's reputation as a visionary had, in some circles, quickly shifted into something much more concerning: high risk. One high-profile entertainment lawyer summed it up in a single brutal sentence. It's not about talent, it's about risk, and right now she's radioactive. In an industry that runs on relationships and image, that kind of label can be fatal. Studios don't just invest in ideas, they invest in people. And when those people are making headlines for all the wrong reasons, reputations suffer. Risk-averse executives started treating Meghan not as a celebrity to court, but as a liability to avoid. Behind the scenes, PR firms reportedly began issuing internal advisories, warning their clients to distance themselves from any projects tied to Meghan or Archwell. Producers who once saw the Duchess of Sussex as a compelling, progressive voice were now being told to wait and see how the Netflix fallout played out. Some of those same producers have since gone silent, publicly neutral but privately hesitant. Because in an environment where deals are sealed in a handshake and sunk by a headline, no one wants to be caught in a storm they didn't start. And make no mistake, this storm had a name. As social media amplified every rumor, every leak, and every viral parody, Meghan's brand became synonymous with spectacle. And not the glamorous kind. It was the kind that made people nervous, the kind that turned collaborators into liabilities. The kind that can kill momentum in an industry built on perception. What was once seen as a modern reinvention of royalty was now being whispered about as a cautionary tale. Proof that in Hollywood, even a duchess can be quietly blacklisted. As the headlines mounted and the leaks spread like wildfire, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. TikTok creators churned out hour-by-hour breakdowns of Meghan's alleged behavior, with many diving deep into the leaked list of demands and insider quotes. The claims went viral fast. Meghan allegedly banned staff from making eye contact during filming. Another report claimed that even receiving the script required signing an NDA. The speculation was endless, but the impact was undeniable. Within days, the hashtag #Meghan Netflix demands was trending, and the tone was anything but sympathetic. YouTube gossip channels capitalized on the chaos, publishing rapid-fire videos with titles like "Hollywood's Most Difficult Duchess" and "Is Meghan Sabotaging Her Own Brand?" These weren't fringe creators. Some of the biggest celebrity commentary channels were dissecting the controversy frame by frame. Then, South Park delivered the final blow with a biting parody that mocked Harry and Meghan's public image obsession. The episode went viral instantly, portraying the couple as hypocrites shouting, "We want privacy," while demanding attention. It was the kind of mainstream satire that cements a public narrative, and it stung. And here's where things got even more complicated. Even longtime supporters began to question what was really going on. Social media threads filled with once loyal fans now ask tough questions. Was this still about telling a story? Or was it about controlling every inch of how that story was told? Was Meghan championing creative freedom, or using it as a shield for micromanagement? The once clear image of a brave couple breaking free from royal constraints was starting to blur, and for many, the lines between empowerment and manipulation weren't so easy to define anymore. The biggest question of all? Where was Harry in all of this? Was he co-signing the decisions? Was he blindsided like the rest of us? Or was he simply along for a ride he couldn't get off? That uncertainty has only deepened the public's fascination. Because if Meghan is the face of the chaos, and Harry is the silent partner caught in the crossfire, then this isn't just a personal brand collapse, it's a modern royal tragedy playing out in real time. And the internet, as always, is watching every second of it. What was once hailed as a groundbreaking rebrand of post-royal life is now looking dangerously close to collapse. Archwell, the media venture Harry and Meghan poured their identities into, is reportedly crumbling from within. Spotify already walked away, with one executive famously calling the partnership underwhelming, a brutal public dismissal for a pair once promised to reshape digital media. And now, according to credible sources, Netflix is considering doing the same. Insiders claim exit clauses are being actively reviewed as the platform grows increasingly uncomfortable with the chaos attached to the couple's brand. Meanwhile, reports from inside Archwell paint a picture of dysfunction. Low morale, blurred responsibilities, and creative differences tearing through the core of their team. Without solid distribution channels, Archwell is essentially frozen. No traction, no momentum. And in Hollywood, stagnation is death. Collaborators are backing away. Resources are tightening. And according to multiple insiders, even loyal staffers are beginning to question the long-term vision. Meghan's dream of building a lifestyle empire, one that could rival brands like Goop or Honest, now feels less like a growing legacy and more like a cautionary tale. The emotional drive that once fueled the project has been replaced with corporate panic and public fatigue. And the outside world has taken notice. Sponsors are going silent. Collaborators who once proudly name-dropped their involvement are now tiptoeing away. And journalists are combing through old interviews and promotional clips, resurfacing inconsistencies and contradictions. The public fascination isn't just with what Meghan and Harry are building, it's with how fast it seems to be unraveling. The brand that once symbolized reinvention, rebellion, and resilience is now being compared to a house of cards, teetering, fragile, and one controversy away from collapse. What began as a reinvention is now dangerously close to rejection. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry entered the media space with bold ambition, a global platform, and a $100 million Netflix deal that was supposed to rewrite their legacy. But instead of cementing their status as modern royalty, the cracks in the foundation are now impossible to ignore. Netflix is reportedly exploring an exit. Hollywood is backing away. And inside the palace, there are whispers that the royal family, already bruised by past controversies, is quietly considering official steps to distance themselves for good. What was intended to be a comeback is now unraveling into a potential collapse. This saga has stopped being a love story. It's no longer about freedom from tradition or the pursuit of a new life in California. It has become a story about control, ambition, and the fragility of fame. Meghan's alleged efforts to control every frame, every headline, and every press release may have been rooted in brand protection, but the unintended result has been widespread backlash. And for Harry, who once symbolized the rebellious royal with heart, the silence is now starting to feel like complicity. With every leak, every exit, and every parody, the public perception shifts further away from admiration and closer toward fatigue. And here's the most ironic part. In the attempt to own their story, they may have lost the plot entirely. Meghan fought for influence, for control, for the power to define her legacy. But the harder she pushed, the more resistance she created. Because in the entertainment world, influence isn't taken, it's earned and it's fragile. When ambition outpaces authenticity, trust crumbles. And now, with industry deals crumbling, media allies vanishing, and the world watching closely, Meghan's empire stands at a crossroads. This isn't just the end of a deal. It could be the beginning of a legacy rewritten, not by her, but by the very headlines she tried to control.